Unit testing. What is unit testing? Unit testing is a test that validates the individual units of source code are working properly. A unit is the smallest testable part of an application. The goal of unit testing is to isolate each part of the program and show that the individual parts are correct. How does unit testing fit into the software development lifecycle? This is the first and the most important level of testing. As soon as the programmer develops a unit of code, the unit is tested for various scenarios. As the application is built, it is much more economical to find and eliminate the bugs early on. Hence, unit testing is the most important of all the testing levels. As the software project progresses ahead, it becomes more and more costly to find and fix the bugs. In most cases, it is developers' responsibility to deliver unit tested code. Unit testing tasks and steps. Step 1, create a test plan. Step 2, create test cases and test data. Step 3, if applicable, create scripts to run test cases. Step 4, once the code is ready, execute the test cases. Step 5, fix the bugs if any and retest the code. Step 6, repeat the test cycle until the unit is free of all bugs. What is a unit test plan? This document describes the test plan, in other words, how the tests will be carried out. This will typically include the list of things to be tested, roles and responsibilities, prerequisites to begin testing, test environment, assumptions, what to do after a test is successfully carried out, what to do if test fails, glossary, and so on. What is a test case? Simply put, a test case describes exactly how the test should be carried out. For example, step 1, type 10 characters in the name field. Step 2, click on submit. Test cases clubbed together form a test suite. Steps for effective unit testing. Documentation. What should be tested when unit testing? Automate where necessary. We will go through this one by one. Documentation. Early on, document all the test cases needed to test your code. A lot of times, this task is not given due importance. Document the test cases, actual results when executing the test cases, response time of the code for each test case. There are several important advantages if the test cases and the actual execution of test cases are well documented. Documenting test cases prevents oversight. Documentation clearly indicates the quality of test cases. If the code needs to be retested, we can be sure that we did not miss anything. It provides a level of transparency of what was really tested during unit testing. This is one of the most important aspects. It helps in knowledge transfer in case of employee attrition. Sometimes unit test cases can be used to develop test cases for other levels of testing. What should be tested when unit testing? A lot depends on the type of program or unit that is being created. It could be a screen or a component or a web service. For a user interface screen, include test cases to verify all the screen elements that needs to appear on the screens. Also, for a user interface screen, include test cases to verify the spelling or font or size of all the labels or text that appears on the screen. Create test cases such that every line of code in the unit is tested at least once in a test cycle. Also create test cases such that every condition in case of conditional statements is tested once. Also create test cases to test the minimum or maximum range of data that can be entered. For example, what is the maximum amount that can be entered or the maximum length of a string that can be entered or passed in as a parameter. Also create test cases to verify how various errors are handled. Also create test cases to verify if all the validations are being performed. Automate where necessary. Time pressures to get the job done may result in developers cutting corners in unit testing. Sometimes it helps to write scripts which automate a part of unit testing. This may help ensure that the necessary tests were done and may result in saving time required to perform the tests. Summary: unit testing is the first level of testing and the most important one. Detecting and fixing bugs early on in the software lifecycle helps reduce costly fixes later on. An effective unit testing process can and should be developed to increase the software reliability and credibility of the developer.